Have you ever noticed how two people can be the exact same age, yet look like they're living in completely different decades? Last week, I met two men at my clinic. They were both 63 years old. The first gentleman walked in slowly, holding the doorframe for support. He lowered himself into the chair with great care, almost as if he didn't fully trust his own body anymore. I smiled and asked, "How have you been doing?" He looked at me and quietly said, "Dr. Emily Carter, I guess I'm just getting old." Later that same day, another 63-year-old man walked through the very same door. His posture was upright. His steps were confident. He shook my hand with a firm grip, sat down comfortably, and smiled before saying, "Dr. Emily Carter, I'm just getting started." Two men, the same age, but two completely different lives. And here's what surprised me the most. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't good genes. It wasn't expensive medicine. It came down to a handful of everyday abilities. Simple things one man had managed to preserve, while the other had slowly lost over the years without even realizing it. Today, I'm going to share the 7 abilities that often separate men who simply grow older from those who continue to live with strength, confidence, and independence well into their 60s, 70s, and beyond. If you can still do these 7 things, you're not just surviving your 60s, you are truly thriving. Because for far too long, many men have been told, directly or indirectly, that slowing down, becoming weaker, and giving up independence is just a normal part of aging. But what if that isn't the full story? For years, many men have been led to believe that getting older automatically means becoming weaker, that losing strength, balance, and confidence is simply part of life. They are told their best years are behind them, and that all they can do now is accept the decline and manage it as gracefully as possible. But after years of working with older adults, I can tell you something with complete confidence. That is one of the most damaging myths a man can believe. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and for more than 12 years, I've had the privilege of caring for men over 60 in clinical practice. What I've witnessed time and time again is this: age itself doesn't weaken men. Giving up on movement, healthy habits, and daily challenges does. So today, I'd like you to do something simple, but incredibly important. As we go through these 7 key abilities, I want you to be completely honest with yourself. This isn't a test you can pass or fail. It's an opportunity to understand where you are today, so you can protect the strengths you still have and begin rebuilding the ones you've lost. And before we get started, there's one thing I want you to remember. Every single one of these abilities can be improved. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 80 years old, your body still has an incredible capacity to adapt, grow stronger, and surprise you. None of these abilities are fixed. So let's begin with the first one. Now, here's the good news. Every one of these abilities is within your control. No matter whether you're 60, 70, or even 80, your body is capable of improving more than most people realize. So, let's begin with the very first ability. Ability 1. Can you rise from the floor without using your hands? At first, this may sound like a very simple question, but don't let its simplicity fool you. If you were sitting on the floor right now, could you stand back up using only your legs? No chair, no pushing yourself up with your hands, no rolling onto your side first, just one smooth, confident movement. If you can do that comfortably, you're already ahead of many men in your age group. In fact, studies suggest that more than 65% of men over 60 struggle with this movement. And this isn't just a fun challenge or a party trick. Researchers in Brazil followed more than 2,000 adults and discovered something remarkable. A person's ability to rise from the floor without support was one of the strongest indicators of long-term health and longevity. Not how fast they could run, not how much weight they could lift, just this one simple movement. Why is it so powerful? Because standing up from the floor requires your legs to be strong, your hips to stay flexible, your core to remain stable, and your balance to work together perfectly. It's a simple movement that quietly measures how well your entire body is functioning. When these systems stay healthy, you're more likely to remain independent, avoid serious falls, and continue enjoying the life you've worked so hard to build. So if it's safe for you, I want you to try this test today. Don't worry about whether you pass or fail. Just be honest with yourself, because the first step towards staying strong is knowing exactly where you stand today. In my 12 years of caring for men over 60, I've learned something that surprises many people. Sometimes a simple movement tells me more about a person's overall health than a page full of lab results. If that first test felt difficult for you, please don't be discouraged. It doesn't mean you failed. It simply tells you where your body needs a little more attention. One of the easiest ways to start rebuilding that strength is surprisingly simple. Spend a few minutes sitting on the floor every day. Not on the couch, not on the edge of your bed, the floor. By doing this regularly, you're gently encouraging your muscles, joints, and balance to work together again. helping your body remember movements it was designed to do. Now, let's move to the second ability. Ability 2, can you walk comfortably for 30 minutes? This isn't about walking fast. It isn't about hiking mountains or training for a marathon. It's about something much more important. Can you walk continuously for 30 minutes without pain or exhaustion forcing you to stop? Not because your knees begin to ache, not because your hips become stiff, and not because you're so out of breath that you need to sit down after just a few minutes. If you can finish a comfortable 30-minute walk and still feel like you could keep going, that's an excellent sign. It tells us that your heart, lungs, muscles, and joints are still working together the way they were meant to, and that's incredibly important. Your body has an incredible ability to adapt, especially when you give it the chance. Now let's move to the third ability. Ability 3. Do you still wake up with something to look forward to? This may be the most important question I'll ask today. When you wake up in the morning, is there something that genuinely makes you want to get out of bed? Not every single morning. No one feels motivated every day. But on most mornings, is there a goal you're working toward? Someone you're excited to spend time with? A hobby you enjoy? A place you'd like to visit? Or a purpose that gives your day meaning? Because healthy aging isn't only about having a strong body, it's also about having a reason to keep moving forward. Purpose is one of the greatest sources of strength a man can have. When you have something meaningful to look forward to, you don't just add life to your years. Very often, you add years to your life. This next ability often surprises people. Most men expect me to talk only about muscles, joints, or heart health. But after more than 12 years in clinical practice, I've learned that one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging isn't just physical. It's having a reason to keep moving forward. I've seen men with manageable medical conditions continue to live full, active lives because they still had purpose. And I've also seen men whose physical health declined much faster after they lost that sense of direction. When every day begins to feel exactly the same, when nothing excites you, when there's nothing to look forward to, your body often begins to slow down along with your mind. On the other hand, when you wake up with a goal, a plan, or even one small reason to get out of bed, you're giving yourself something powerful. You're telling your mind and your body, I'm not finished yet. And that message matters more than most people realize. So if you've been feeling like you've lost that sense of purpose, don't try to change your entire life overnight. Start with just one thing. Read a new book, learn a new skill, call an old friend, plan a short trip, work on a hobby you've been putting off. It doesn't have to be something big, because purpose grows the same way strength does. One small step at a time. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? Leave your city and state in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing where everyone is joining from. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and I do my best to read as many of your comments as I can. Now let's move on to ability number 4. A simple test that reveals far more about your health than most people ever imagine: your grip strength. Now let's continue with the next 3 abilities. One simple question. Can you still carry 2 full grocery bags without feeling completely worn out afterward? It may sound ordinary, but it tells us a lot about your overall strength. A firm grip often reflects strong muscles, better balance, and the ability to stay independent as you get older. If your grip isn't as strong as it once was, don't worry. Just a few minutes each day using a stress ball or hand gripper can make a real difference over time. Here's another question. Can you still remember the name of someone you met just last week? That small ability says a lot about how healthy and active your brain is. Many people assume memory loss is simply part of aging, but in many cases, your brain is simply asking for more movement, better sleep, and new challenges. Keep walking, keep learning, and keep having meaningful conversations. Your brain becomes stronger when you continue to use it. And finally, ask yourself this. When life becomes difficult, can you stay calm? Can you listen without getting angry? Can you respond without losing control? In my experience, emotional strength is just as important as physical strength. The men who learn to stay calm under pressure often enjoy better relationships, less stress, and better overall health. The next time you feel yourself reacting, pause for a moment. Take one slow breath in and one slow breath out. Sometimes that small pause can change everything. Now, there's just one final ability left, and in many ways, it may be the most important one of all.